Hey, thank God. You see, my God always works for me. I knew. Oh yeah, let me read. Just listen. In the UK, false allegations can result in criminal charges, such as wasting police time and perverting the course of justice. Wasting police time may result in charges if a false allegation leads to unnecessary police involvement. Now, with penalties including up to 6 months imprisonment or a fine, the primary offense in this context is the false allegation itself, which a maximum penalty reflecting the seriousness of such an action, which can also be considered a criminal offense. Maximum penalty for perverting the course of justice can be life imprisonment. Life imprisonment is the maximum. Are you telling me?
Bro, life imprisonment is for maximum for anything depending on the severity of the crime. And this is why I then said, within the context of an abusive relationship where the other party was also guilty of creating a certain situation, I can understand why they would have given her leniency.
Leniency is not probation.
Listen, leniency.
She got away with it. That's my point.
She didn't get away with it. If she got away with it, it would never be on her record that it is until now for the rest of her life.
As far as I'm concerned.
She didn't get away with it. If she got away with it, there'd be nothing. She could have had higher, potentially, but we don't know the context. And this is why I said, actually, probably, if we not put things into context, listening to the whole thing, because this is the thing, I am not upset in saying, actually, do you know what? As upset as I was about hearing the whole thing, I still stand on what I say. If women are doing things that are wrong and taking advantage of their power of victimization, they should face legal consequences for the results of their bad actions. I still maintain that, and she's still dealing with it, okay? And I'm very happy that at least in her case, the police did get involved, something did happen, and she did get some sort of legal consequence. Now, putting it into context and hearing the full story, I can say you committed a crime, but I can also say I understand the context of said crime and why it would have happened. Because actually what she could have done, she could have even killed him, she could have poisoned him, she could have done a million different things as well.
So it's good that she just...
No, I'm not saying that it's good that she should have done that. I'm not saying that it's good that she should have done that. I'm understanding the context of the situation. I'm glad that she faced legal action, but I'm also actually wanting to now bring a new conversation to the topic based on what she said, because what she's talking about and what she went through, actually a lot of women go through. But certain women make the choice of killing their husbands or poisoning them. Some of them make these false allegations to punish them really severely, and others just leave and escape and survive.
No problem. But now let's talk about what we know for a fact. So one, we know she's a pathological liar. Two, we know that she lied to accuse someone of rape. So all this other thing I'm saying is the speculation. Me, I am actually based on what I'm saying, based on what I know.
Yes. Welcome to another Mischief Managed Media reaction. Today, we're going to be reacting to Victoria Everest scandal, where she tried to falsely accuse somebody of rape. Very serious stuff. Make sure that you like, share, comment, subscribe, because we'll be dropping reaction videos to Backchat, to Victoria Everest, and all the juicy goss every single week. So stay tuned. Anyways, I brought back Babes, King, and I'm the troublemaker extraordinaire, Dinalva, the one and only. And let's get into this. Let's see what Victoria Everest had to say for herself now that she's been exposed for being a manipulative fake.
And paid Gucci to release the video.
So let's talk about the video.
As a result of that video being provided to the police, I was charged caution, and I had to go on probation, so I have a criminal record. And
are you saying that you wanted to get him back because of the abuse?
I called the police 19 times because I was in fear of my life.
What was the psychological effects that it had on you? How would you describe that?
I kept finding myself in relationships with abusive men.
Do you think that your father being absent in your life contributed to how you view men?
I witnessed the most horrific acts of domestic violence.
Yeah, blame your daddy. Come on, sister.
My first reaction is that she already just sounds like a liar. Yeah, quite alright, we know she's a liar, but even from this intro, if I didn't even know she was a liar before, she already just sounds like a liar.
Innit? It's just like, anyways, I want to...
Her voice is shaking.
Thank you. Her voice is shaking. She's not saying things with chest, you know? But anyways, let's hear. I got a feeling I'm going to dislike this lady a lot. I don't like her lack of accountability already. Her time's looking good, though.
You know, my mom was regularly feeding black and blue.
You said that this video was made nearly 10 years ago.
Yeah, I can't even believe somebody could hold on to a video that long.
Why is it being released now?
I don't know. I think you need to ask him that question.
When did you decide that in order for me to get him back, because that's what you mentioned in the video, that you were going to make this false allegation? Like, when did that thought?
Brav. It's funny that they call this show off the record, Brav. It is not off the record. You are on record. Anything you say will be used against you in the court of law. Better shut your mouth.
That's lie.
Like, I felt that at that point that the only person that could stop this man was me.
Eh? Eh?
Trend Central Editor. What's going on?
Welcome to Off the Record, a platform for individuals to speak their truth, discuss their thoughts, and own their stories. We will be having candid conversations, dissecting various events, asking
Is
the
she
questions
engaged?
we are all eager to know.
Huh?
Is she engaged?
I don't know.
Hopefully,
Why is she
No.
wearing a
come
ring
into
on her
grace.
engagement?
No, she's wearing a ring on the middle finger. The engagement finger is this one. So you'll be on that side.
No. That's the engagement finger. Then when you get married, you now transfer the ring and your wedding finger into this band.
This is the ring finger. Even when you get engaged, it goes onto here, and then you put the wedding band onto your engagement.
Are you sure?
Yes. See, you're gonna make the mistake when you then propose to me to put it on the wrong finger. Now,
Let me
I'll
see. Let me
go see now. Like, I'm not a woman that looks at engagement rings all the time and what it looks like.
I'm your host, Midday Oni, the one and only. Let's get into it.
Here's good. Gonna trigger or a warning. I think we need one of these, you know.
What's that?
Trigger warnings for our
Today we
content.
are joined by somebody that has gone viral the last couple of days for something very controversial and very sensitive to a lot of people. She is here today to discuss her side of the story and hopefully clear some questions up.
Wait, how is it controversial?
It is controversial because you're a
No.
woman that has
I've-
manipulated a man and falsely accused him of
No,
something.
no. I don't think it's controversial. I think that is downplaying what is happening. It's a crime. It's not controversy that let's debate. What she did is a crime.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
controversial for the fact that obviously she's already been dealt with that. But most importantly is the fact that it's a conversation on social media that is getting people to have all sorts of opinions. So it's controversial for the topic itself. You know,
The act itself is not controversial at all.
it is controversial and it's criminal. You two, they can be both at the same time.
Bruv.
Welcome to the
So if a guy grips a girl, that's controversial.
But the fact that people are talking about it is controversial.
No. That's what I'm saying. That doesn't
The
make any
act
sense.
is
That's
controversial.
wrong. You cannot attribute controversy to something that is just clearly that anybody should know is wrong. That controversy is where there's a chance for debate. If there's no room for debate in something, there's no
Well,
controversy.
young Philly's thing is controversial.
Yeah, because there's room for debate.
Yeah,
He
exactly.
hasn't yet been charged guilty or anything. People are still speculating. But she admitted on video
Yeah.
that she gripped a guy.
And
That is
even
not
that-
controversial.
That is a bit controversial, trust me. It is controversial because it just makes people's minds
How are
explode.
you?
I'm great, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you for asking.
They look like they're in
this
different
has
rooms.
been a very intense couple of days for you, I'm sure. How have you been feeling? How are you managing?
Actually, I've managed to stay quite grounded. I've got an excellent
That's true. I think they're
support
actually in
network
different
and
rooms.
community around
That's
me, which
nice.
I'm just incredibly grateful for. I'm in the middle of a 21-day juice fast, which has really just
Who
allowed me
cares?
to just not react to things that are being saying online, but really just respond with truth and clarity. So I'm super, super grateful for this opportunity to set the record straight.
Well, thank you for joining us to set the record straight.
I got a feeling she is in another place because isn't she abroad?
Relating to or causing much discussion, disagreement, or argument. So that's what I'm saying. The act, what she did is not controversial. Because there's no argument about what she did.
But
Everybody agrees that what she did was wrong.
Yes, and the topic and the fact people talking about it in people's opinions, that's the controversy. It's all about opinion.
Looking forward to this conversation. So before we get started, tell us a bit about yourself. You've got an amazing platform in terms of wellness and fitness and caring for the body. So for those people that don't know you prior to this scandal, tell us a bit more about what you do and who you are.
So I run one of the fastest growing detox and wellness academies in the world, and we teach people essentially how they can reclaim their health, giving them tools and techniques, predominantly based around fasting, but also other health healing modalities. So movement's a really big part of that. I also support, I guess through my time of growing my community, I support a huge community of people online with just daily inspiration, providing them guidance around juicing, working out, health, wellness. That's essentially what I
It's
do in
very
a
likely that
nutshell.
this interview was
Obviously,
shot
you're
over
not in
Zoom
the
call.
studio with me,
Oh.
so where exactly are you?
So I'm currently in Jamaica. We are in the middle of running our Reset Wellness Retreat where people across the world fly in for a week to come and detox and reset their body in paradise. It's been an incredible experience. And yes, we're right in the middle of the retreat, but it was really important for me to be able to take the time out and respond to this video and really just shed some light around it as well.
I'm not gonna lie, yeah? I would hate to be in her shoes right now because what she's feeling in her heart must be real because the whole world knows that you are a witch, basically. And a lot of people literally hate you so much. She has not lost loads of her followers because that's not just how things go. But in general, girl.
No, I think she has lost loads of followers, but I think she's buying followers to hide it.
Oh, of course. That makes sense. Because
Okay,
China
that's good to hear.
China did do a little bit. China is onto her because China is upset because China obviously Mandem's voice. You can't be doing this to the Mandem without the voice speaking out loud. And he did already kind of go through her followers, and he actually did expose that there's a lot of bots.
Yeah, she's buying followers, definitely.
I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense, to be honest. You got to invest in it.
Obviously, from your brand being very wellness, fitness, dietary, just looking after your body, it's very contradictory to what has come out recently about you. So let's talk about it. Obviously, there's been a lot of conversation surrounding you and this leaked video online. Let's kind of start by, I think what we need to kind of clarify is your relationship with men, first and foremost, because certain things that you were saying in the video kind of showed that you don't like men. So kind of talk me through that. Like, what's your relationship or your view towards men holistically?
So just to give you a bit of context, my mum's Turkish, my father's Nigerian. I was born and
Oh
raised
my
in London.
God. What a
See,
disgrace.
this was all caused by Nigerian men. Her father is to blame.
What a disgrace.
Parents
We
came
don't
to the
claim her.
UK
She's
as immigrants
obviously
back
she's
in
definitely not Nigerian because her dad was not in her life. So this is not.
I mean,
this is not her
apparently-
Nigerian side. This is her. Where did she say her mom is from?
Turkey.
This is her Turkish side or
But
her
apparently-
Jamaican island side that she went to Ghana because I believe she probably grew up in like a Jamaican upbringing. The way she has positioned herself and she's sounding.
Maybe.
This is not Nigerian at
I
all.
was born and raised in London. Both my parents came to the UK as immigrants back in the 80s. My mum actually couldn't speak any English. Turkish was our main spoken language at home, and I actually
What does that have to do with you hating men? I beg.
ended up learning English at school. My relationship with my father was a very interesting one. He was a well-renowned journalist, had a publication called Business in Africa magazine, and I was his princess. I had a very, very close relationship with him growing up until the age of 12, when he then moved to South Africa to pursue his business and his career. And at that point, things really changed for me. Going into my teenage years, not having my father present, I would see him once or twice a year, but he didn't play an active role in my life at all. Kind of going into early teenagehood, adolescence, and at the age of 19, 47 years young, his life was tragically taken. He was assassinated by a family member, and that was for me probably one of the most traumatic experiences I had to go through. As a young adult, in my early teens, losing.
Sorry, can I pause? You see, this is my issue with stuff like this. someone has been accused of a very, this is not even a normal thing that you can say, okay, let's start a very terrible sounding crime. And then you start making her tell us about her. Like, we don't care, bruv. Go straight to the point. Why did you accuse men of rape?
So basically,
why did you do this? We don't want to know.
Let me
this, do you know what this does? This humanizes her and makes us now want to relate
because
to her story. No, we don't want to
she's
relate.
using her
Yes.
traumas to justify how she is.
Rubbish.
But I can't lie, my dad passed away when I was 12. He too was assassinated, and I'm not here, telling nobody that they did something they didn't do.
Because that's how exactly how propaganda works. Have you noticed that in the media, if a white person does something bad, they would start talking about their history, their family. But if it's a black person, they will not even, they just say, Nigerian British man does this, does that. They will not even tell us, try and humanize. No. So I don't like when people take this approach. It's a very underhanded way to try and pull the wool over our eyes.
For I would say losing my best friend, I looked up to
Your best friend that made you go do allegations against men, I beg.
so much. We spent so much time together. Even though he wasn't there physically, he still was my idol, and to have his life, to lose him so tragically at such a young age, I think definitely played a burden on me for sure.
Well, I'm sorry for your loss. I'm really sorry to hear that. Do you think that
Switch.
your father being absent in your life contributed to how you feel?
Not having my dad around growing up didn't influence my view on men. I think what it did do is it created a space for where I didn't have the right guidance, nurturing, or support structure as a young person. It created the space for me to just essentially encounter challenges, going through, my teenage life from the ages of 12 to 16, so from year 7, to year 11, I went to 6 different secondary schools. I was expelled 3 times. I got myself involved with, a gang of criminals, to say it quite frankly, and I almost got myself murdered at the age of 15.
Sorry, you're going to say something?
I was going to say big up to Trent Central for always doing this kind of interviews. But that being said, I still want to highlight the fact of how dangerous it is in general, because we have a social media culture where everybody's trying to become relevant, everybody's trying to blow, right? And it's very hard to become relevant in today's social media landscape. But there's a loophole. A lot of these platforms will always look for stories like this. So I get. But the problem with that is, especially if they are the kinds that whenever anything is just starting to make a bit of noise, they pick it up. Now, that could also kind of incentivize people that are not normal to go out and look for ways to become infamous.
Yeah, kind of, but then it can also put people off because they see, goddamn, she got caught and look how bad it got.
I don't think that has ever discouraged mad people.
I think that I don't think this is going to be something that's going to encourage girls to go and treat like a great majority. Only the little psychopaths that already have that seed planted in the head would actually jump on this.
No,
because
what I'm saying
because this is actually a really ugly scandal for you as a woman to get involved in, because not only are you a liar, a manipulator, a bit of an ashawo too, you're just awful. You're a witch. That's actually horrible. I know how she must be feeling. She can barely breathe when she's talking about this stuff.
But that being said, your point, in my opinion, will only be valid if she actually suffers for the proper more consequences now that she has gone viral. Because if after this whole media press thing, she now keeps going up and doing well, now that's where there's a problem. Because now they've essentially put her into the limelight.
Well,
and that's usually what tends to happen.
Ultimately, she was already in the limelight.
Not really.
She
Nobody-
was. She's
I
got
didn't
nearly
know
a
her-
million
I didn't know her till
followers
this.
on Instagram.
Bruv, she buys
She,
flowers.
it doesn't matter. She's got nearly a million and she's still doing things. You know, she's still running her retreat. She's still managing.
Can easily check
you know,
her
so
engagement.
social media. Like what this has done is not put it in the limelight. This has taken it from the limelight, put it in the dark light. That's it. We're looking at her from a bad perspective. This is why this is even being done. And I think it's actually really important for us to hear what she has to say so we can make even a better judgment on what we saw. Because what she did triggered a lot of people. That's why it's a massive topic online. And now we need to hear her to judge exactly from her words what is meant to be the truth. So this is what we're doing. We're trying to see. So first she's talking about how her dad wasn't around, but her dad was her best friend. And she then went and got herself involved with gangs and got expelled and got all this sort of stuff. So usually that comes from a place of trauma. If her dad leaving was something that hurt her a lot and got her to do all this sort of stuff, fine. But then at the same time, that doesn't usually happen with somebody that considers their dad their best friend. But I suppose maybe she rebelled against her mum. So she hates her mum a little bit, probably.
Was at on the front page of Hackney Gazette because I had been kidnapped, taken, by the kidnappers to a river. Had all of my hair cut off. I had a bag put over my head and thrown into the river. I was in a hospital for 2 weeks in concussion, and as a result of that, there was multiple attacks at that time. But as a result of that first attack, I was put into witness protection, which I later came out of because I decided not to pursue the charges. But at that point, I also was in social services by the age of 15. I was in a foster home. My dad wasn't around, like I said. And
Where was your mum?
Both my parents really tried their best with me. I am an only child, and I think by the point where they realized that my life was in serious danger growing up, at the time I was in Hackney, so when they realized that my life was in serious danger, my dad decided to step in and remove me from the UK, and I ended up finishing my studies in Germany. I went to the Berlin British School, and I ended up finishing year 11.
Okay.
So basically, this is one thing that I can obviously conclude from everything that she just said. Basically, you're a spoiled only child who decide to act up because daddy was not around, so you decide to take it out on your mum by doing things like rebelling, not listening, and putting your life in danger. So you actually went chasing for that bad life. So you've got a little bit of a bone for naughtiness. That's what I've already noticed, because he doesn't seem, from what she said, from how she spoke about her dad, it doesn't seem like he's a bad person in terms of, like, obviously she's going to talk about how he beat her mum, but they took you out of the UK. They sent you to another country to go and finish your studies. They invested into you, so it seems like you're probably a bright person, because also your dad, as you said, was a world-renowned journalist. So I'm just saying, this does not come from poverty. Doesn't come from a space of starving or lack of having things, not lack of abundance. This was your dad went and you wanted revenge, actually.
Wow, that's a lot to take in. There's so much to unpack in what you just said. But what I want to touch on is, you mentioned you talk about your dad, but where was your mum when all of this was happening?
Thank you.
I also lost my mum in 2021 to COVID. She was 56 years young, so that's, talking about my...
What? Is she dense?
Well, she lost her dad at 19 and then her mum 4 years ago.
No, they said, where was your mom when all of this was happening? So all those things she just explained, joining gangs, where was your mom? She said her mom died. Like, is your brain working?
True. She basically, in my opinion, what it sounds like she already has a story and a justification for how she's
trying to paint herself a certain way.
Because she picked very specific stories, like, I was expelled, my dad left, I got kidnapped, my hair got cut, I got sent, I was gone for however long, witness protection, all of these sort of things.
Bad concussion.
Yeah, maybe
that concussion lasted longer than
and that's like her building a profile of, feel sorry for me because I was a young girl that went through a lot of stuff. But it seems like, again, she wanted to rebel.
Self-inflicted.
Kind of.
But always get a little bit emotional, but
I do
Up
feel
until the
something.
age of 12,
Imagine.
my mum played a really active role in my life. You know, she was the mum that would take me to every single after school club, swimming, horse riding. You know, she is
See?
an incredibly strong and inspiring woman that poured nothing but love and nurturance into me
Boy, it's too
growing up. But when I hit the age of 12, she met somebody, and the person that she had met was living in Tottenham at the time. We were living in South London in West Norwood. And within a few months of meeting this individual, he was a Turkish man.
I thought she was in Hackney.
She fell pregnant. They decided they were going to get married and have a child. So essentially, at the age of 12, my mum had decided to start a new family, and I think that's really when my struggles with men really began.
So I'm not sure if she's exactly lying or she's confusing herself, because if she says she was in Hackney, then that means it's possible, but she hasn't made it clear. But if I want to use my own brain, she was in Hackney because when her dad died, or when her dad left, she started misbehaving. So she was probably with her mom at 12 and started misbehaving. Then she got into this
foster.
problem. Then the CPS probably came and took her.
Yeah, because I think that's something that would definitely happen, where if you're becoming a danger to yourself and then your parents can't handle you anymore, and then social services get involved and all this sort of stuff, you will end up in foster care, because the state doesn't also believe that your parents or your mom is capable of taking
But
care
the
of
problem with that is that, so you see, this is why I think she's probably lying. Because if she was in foster care, how did her father have the authority to come and take her out of London?
Probably because he wasn't around doesn't mean he didn't have custody over her. Maybe going into foster care was her mom's way of like getting the headache out of her own hands. And then eventually dad said, you know what, no, this is not going to work. My daughter can't be in foster care. She can't do this. She can't. Let me take over. So maybe you did that, and then money does the job. Maybe, you know.
Throughout those years, throughout those teenage years, throughout the adolescent years, from the time that my mum was with this man, his name was Sayed, I witnessed the most horrific acts of domestic violence. I'm talking, you know, my mum was regularly beaten black and blue in front of me, had her hair dragged, had her teeth kicked in while she was pregnant to my younger brother. My stepdad kicked her in the stomach, and you know, it was just one of those things. Growing up, I ended up really resenting, you know, because I had no control. As a teenager, I had no control. I had no way of protecting my mum, and I thought, definitely at the time, maybe I can seek safety and comfort on the streets, and that's what I did. I got taken in by the streets.
So you can see, this is her page. She only has like one out of every like 15 videos that has this kind of engagement. The rest is all like this. So most of her followers are probably all fake.
I remember, you know, 14, 15, that was another thing as well, you know, whilst I was still at home, I also had challenges because my mum, being Turkish, is white, my stepdad was white, my little brother was also white, so I also felt like I didn't fit in. My dad wasn't around, so the closest space, or you know, I guess the closest I could feel home was really the safety on the streets. And I remember going through my teenage years thinking, one day I'm gonna kill this man for what he's put my mum through, and that's essentially, I think, was the beginning of, you know, the relationship, you know, the beginning, I guess the beginning of it all was witnessing domestic violence, you know, the severity of what my mom went through growing up. And I know a lot of people can relate in Turkish cultures, especially Turkish, Arabic, any kind of ethnic culture, to be beaten by your husband is normalized. It's one of those things that it's like,
God, it wasn't the Nigerian man that beat her.
Women just have to endure it. We have to accept it, and you know.
To be fair, she makes a very valid point, okay? So I cannot discredit her for saying this, because there's two things that happens to you as a young person when you see this from both your dad and your stepdad. One, men are assholes because they beat women, and I don't want to be like that, and my mum was weak and this guy took advantage of her. Or two as well, men abandon you. And when men abandon you, even my dad abandoned me, and now look at where I am. I'm with white people that don't like me. This man is beating my mom. I hate my life. And my dad abandoned me. Remember, also, because you need to put yourself in the shoes of a teenager. And actually, that is really traumatizing. I can tell you because I also know certain, like from my own experience with certain things growing up and all of this, my own story, I can understand how in my teenage years, how I thought about men, how I felt about some men as a result of the things that I saw with men in my family, for example, including even my dad. There was a moment, and it was not until you go through some very serious dark stuff that you realize, do you know what? I need to snap out of it.
Yeah, babe, I'm not. Let's pack your thing aside. I don't like bringing personality. Remove your story from that one. I don't think it's relevant. On her case, guess what? We don't care. Because she's an adult now. So, other one is story. If it's that she was traumatized and she now hates men and it comes out the way Ginger J is, we can now look towards her mental state. But the moment you now take it further to the step of now committing a crime, we don't care. Because if Ginger J had gone and slapped one of those girls there, do you think anybody would want to even listen to whether his mom or brother?
Yeah, I know that we don't want to listen to it because he hasn't had an interview to sit down and talk about it, and not had an interview to sit down and talk about why or how black women finessed him so bad that he now does not like dating them at all and had an outburst. He didn't commit a crime, but he actually had quite a serious outburst. It's not to say that we have to care and to be like, oh my God, forgive her. It's not about forgiveness. It's about setting the context for you to understand how could somebody take that road. So it kind of allows you to say, okay, I understand how you could have that vision to a point that you want to set men up for whatever. You already dealt with criminals. I know, let me finish, please. You already dealt with criminals, so you already have a bit of a dark thing about you. Because if you're dealing with gangs and this and that, you have to do things that are not good. You have to be ruthless sometimes and do really effed up stuff. Then you have your family context, you have your own anger issues, whatever. So it's not to say that it's justifiable. This is why people need to understand, be careful if you're having children, be careful how you raise them and where you let them go and what you let them see, because this is what you're going to end up with, a traumatized person that's going to hurt other people because she's hurt in some ways. And also, if she's dealing with crime, she's going to be not only hurtful to others but ruthless. Okay.
My mum, because of the sick of my younger brother, she stayed in that relationship.
What was the psychological
to
effects that it had on you? How would
Remember
you
that
describe that?
It almost normalized it, so it was no coincidence when I hit 26, 27 that I kept finding myself in relationships with abusive men, that played a really big part in terms of my psychology. And, not realizing, I think it was more of a subconscious decision that, I was making, that I would end up in a relationship with men who at some point would end up abusing me. If it wasn't physically, it was emotionally or mentally. And it was a pattern that was continuing throughout, kind of my adult life.
So let's talk about the video, the recent viral video. So when the video first dropped, you mentioned that it was fake and it was AI. Can we talk a bit about that? Like, what did you mean?
Mm-hmm.
So given given the size and scale of my account, I'm not the person that always is behind running my account. So the video was sent to me, and my first response to the video was that this has been edited, this is fake. And that's what I said to my team. So they then took that and said it was AI. When I realized they put out it was AI, I deleted the story immediately, and then went forward with saying it's a very, very real video. It's just been, it's a 7-minute video that's been edited specifically to show me in a particular light.
Do you believe for a second? Look, I'm not. Obviously, it sounds like I'm just hating, but do you believe for a second that this woman that we're looking at here would hand over accounts to someone else to be posting stories for her?
Now, even if she did, the whole point is, if you saw a video, even if you see it at a glimpse, you will recognize the video because you've seen it before. So you cannot say that it's AI. You've seen it before, so your gut reaction was to lie, which very much goes in hand with the type of person that you've built yourself up to be based on what I know about your childhood. You already know how to lie because if you're dealing with gangs, you have to be a good liar so that you don't get yourself into trouble all the time. You know, you already come from a bit of a toxic place. Again, lies is easy. So for her, first gut reaction is lies.
So I think there was a misunderstanding there for sure.
Obviously, there's a lot of things that we need to unpack about that video, but you mentioned that, you know, like you hate men in that video. And obviously you describing everything that you've gone through psychologically, you know, one could argue that, you know, it's understandable why you would kind of have that viewpoint. But you've mentioned that your dad didn't contribute to it. It was your stepdad. And then you also entered into abusive relationships. What did those abusive relationships look like? What did you experience?
This is what China says about baby moms. It's usually the man that they bring.
Yes,
that fucks up the child.
Yes, it's true. But then also, I can't lie. I feel that she had plenty of experience up until the age of 19 when her dad passed away. Especially if she was already out there. She was a streets girl. So I think that although that can be justifiable that her stepdad really influenced her mentality about men, your dad was your best friend. You loved your dad. If you love your dad, you actually know how to love men. So you hating men and putting it all on your stepdad is not good enough. Mm-hmm. As far as I'm concerned, there are people that have character traits. In the situation that she found herself in with her mother, there are people that withdraw. There are people that rebel. There are people that go into depression. You see, there are people that run away, become better and stronger. So for you to, and yours wasn't even rebelling, my sister. Yours was, you just went and kissed the devil.
In relation to the video, the person that I was in a relationship with, it was over a period of 18 months. You know, when I first entered a relationship with this guy, generally I would, you know, be naive enough, because I'm someone who wears their heart on their sleeve naturally in every scenario, every situation. And, you know, one of the things that led me to even entering this relationship was just being vulnerable enough to take people for face value. You know, the manipulation that went into pursuing the relationship from him, you know, early on in the relationship, really was, you know, when I look back and reflect, I think, okay, you know, I definitely was in a really broken state. When I look back at that video, because, you know, I've watched it a couple times, and just to set the record straight, you know, that video was filmed almost 10 years ago. The person who I was speaking about in that video wasn't arrested and wasn't prosecuted. Whilst I said some extremely, you know, vile things in that video, a lot of people have really focused on the hate and the anger, and
I'm so sorry, I'm just going to cut you, because you said the person in the video that you were referring to was not prosecuted, was not arrested, was not charged.
Absolutely not. He wasn't, you know, he wasn't charged, he didn't go to jail, and actually the video
what should he have gone to
was
jail for?
provided to the police, and because,
as in, like, when she made the false allegations, did they actually get the guy to end up being in prison?
Okay.
So I guess her lies weren't even good enough. She got caught before any action happened.
Mm-hmm. Video was provided to the police. He managed to get away with those charges, and as a result,
he managed to get away with those charges. Are you hearing this scumbag? Not that because he was innocent they let him go. No, he managed to get away with the charges because the video was released to the police. You are a scumbag.
Provided to the police. I was charged, caution, and I had to go on probation, so I have a criminal record, and, you know, that was a decision made by the police at the time. So I really had to pay the price.
Okay, so
I don't think she thinks that she was meant to be punished.
What was the punishment again?
She said probation. It wasn't even jail. She didn't even serve time.
The reason,
probation.
from in my opinion, the reason why I think that punishments for things like this should be a little bit heavier than getting a caution and getting something on your criminal record. Because what have you put on your criminal record? False accusations. Fine, no problem. But then guess what? You're wasting police time. You've is defamation of character against someone else. All the false accusations, just like interfering with investigations, whatever. You just did too much. So actually, probation or a caution or like something on a criminal record is not enough. But at this point, because of the severity of the accusation, you should have at least spent 1 month in prison. Just 1 month.
Bruh,
Even.
men spend years in jail for selling
Because it's fraud
weed.
as well.
For selling weed.
Yeah.
People go to jail for fraud, exactly, but somehow this is not that bad. Just
Yeah.
probation.
I think that's, I mean, her having a criminal record obviously is not great, but not enough, I don't think.
We're moving along a bit quickly here. So the video, the man that released the video, Gucci Walker, I believe, right? Am I correct?
Correct.
Yeah. He released a statement saying that his friend, the reason why he made the video was because his friend was charged with a false rape case. Yeah. And at the hands of you planned it. You had the man in your house where you both had intercourse, and then the police caught him there. So he was going to jail. He couldn't bust case on this particular matter because he was found in your house. But you're saying that that didn't happen.
No, so he did get arrested, and because the video, was provided to the police as evidence, he was released. He never got charged.
Thank goodness for man them that love their brothers, because if he did not love his brother, he wouldn't even have thought of going to test the allegation. So basically, by the sounds of things, the friend saw that his brethren went to prison and probably thought he could never have done that to this girl. So then he went to be like friends. Oh yeah, I can't believe what's happened. Like, talk to me. And she was stupid enough to then divulge the truth on the video. Wait.
Well, she didn't know she was being recorded now, so.
Yeah, I know, but still, if you're doing something like this, how are you gonna tell your ex's friend that that's what you did? You know?
Because she's stupid.
Well, because she was bold in her nonsense.
I never saw Denzel again. That was, over 8 years ago. We've never spoken. We've never seen. He went on with his life. We made a lot of mistakes during that relationship. That was probably one of the most traumatic. I've been through 2 very, very traumatic relationships in my life. One of those, when I say traumatic, violent and abusive, one of those was with Denzel, the person that was in question.
Violent
in
and
the
abusive.
video.
But another part she has left out. Was he beating you or were you guys beating each other? Because that's another part women somehow seem to leave out sometimes. Because I'm not trying to be insensitive, but maybe I am being insensitive. But if someone is a pathological liar, I find it hard to believe anything they say in general. Like, I'm not just going to believe it. If she wasn't a liar now, I can now say, okay, maybe, but bruv, I know how to be a liar. So what she just said now, I don't even believe it. Self.
I would say from what I can gauge, I would say that the relationship would have been terrible, but it's not. I wouldn't say that is because she went and beat him and this and that. A lot of the time what happens is you end up in a relationship with somebody, and because both of you are quite big characters, and you can tell by her upbringing, she's definitely a rude girl. So certain situations started to build up to a point that then he probably took action that he shouldn't, because of what she already kind of was, numb to or normalized to, in terms of like violence and aggression because of her past. She endured, or she dealt with, or she allowed certain things to happen. Now, it's not to say that we should feel sorry for her. It's just someone's normal is not everyone else's normal.
No.
So for her,
this is the problem. This is the problem. It's not she endured, because that's the overarching story all of them hide under. Listen to her past again. She was part of gang culture. Gang girls don't endure domestic violence, bruv.
They do.
No, they endure. Let me separate it. They endure in general, yes, but they don't endure it the same way a normal girl that is not in that life would endure it. A normal girl that has never seen that kind of thing would actually get battered. A gang girl will thrive on it, even though she's enjoying it, quote unquote, because there are times that she'll get battered. There are times that she'll be doing the battering. So there are times that she will start the fight. See, this is something that Pearl, when I was with Pearl, we had extensive discussions about this on the podcast. So I know, I'm not saying that's her case, but I know it is out there. There are girls that actually actively participate in domestic violence. So it's not just that the boys beating them.
I'm not gonna lie.
And then when the story now comes out, they omit their own parts.
I'm not gonna lie. I'll tell you the truth right now. If somebody touches me and you hit me, best believe I take one, I'll give you 3. I will not go down without a fight.
Yeah, but that's not participating.
So what I think also happens in a lot of these situations with domestic violence is that the man will probably be the one that'll take it super duper far and she will defend herself. And so you participating in domestic violence doesn't always mean that you're going to go up to a man and slap him in the face. That doesn't actually
that's
happen.
stereotyping, because the reality is that when it comes to domestic violence cases, and this is because we did the research, Pearl did research, we talked to a lot of domestic violence people, she did interview one-on-one. There are actually men that it is the women that started, they're the ones that throw plates, throw knives, do things, that the man defends himself too. So it's not you saying the man, based on what I know, the man will have probably started. That's actually stereotyping.
No, I think that you're because obviously your context of you not liking her, but I think that she's a scumbag on the board and all this stuff makes you a little bit more susceptible to go towards that lane.
No, I'm not.
As far as I'm concerned,
I'm saying that exists. Yes. So you cannot just say it's just only her.
Yes, I know.
Both of them exist, so we don't know which one she falls in.
I know,
so
but
let's not give her
I know, but all I'm saying is, regardless, the man is way bigger and way stronger than you. The moment that a man beats you, there's a complete switch in the dynamic of the relationship, whether or not she even tries to hit him back. And that is why, actually, thinking about it, as twisted as it is, I can probably now kind of understand why she made the choice of like, I'm going to ruin your life completely, because she couldn't win against somebody that is stronger, bigger than her, and was hurting a lot. Because don't forget, I haven't finished. I'm making an assumption the same way that you put something.
No, because the assumption you made is that
wait. Listen,
how do you know? You don't even know the guy. I've not seen the guy's picture.
Please don't cut me off, baby, because it actually irritates me because I can't come out with my words and my thought process actually goes off. Okay, cool. No, we'll cut it off. But I'm just saying, I beg, because you do that a lot. Okay, what I'm saying is, as a woman, yes, if you're in a relationship with a man, especially this one that likes hood rats, I don't think that the man was weaker and smaller than her. Okay, so she entered into a domestic violence battle with her man, where eventually he hurt her and she's hurting him, and they're going back and forth. This is what it's seeming like, okay? And because she couldn't win above everything and she was hurt and spiteful and bitter, she then went as far as creating that situation. That's the thing. And she went as far as creating that situation. And the reason why I know it's a battle that didn't quite win, that she didn't quite win on her end, is because the guy actually went to her house and he had, in what was in his mind, consensual sex. So they hadn't even like fully destroyed each other completely. She still held on to something so she could get revenge back on him, because she needed to win. She needed to have a leg up. That's kind of like how I'm understanding, because understanding the woman's mind, her action was a vengeful one.
Good. But that being said, I'm not saying you are wrong. I'm saying you are the one that's not listening to me, because I said what you said exists, but you omitted the other part completely and acted like it didn't exist, where men are on the receiving end of physical, I'm never saying just verbal, physical domestic violence. Let's not minimize that, because it's actually
minimizing it.
Good.
I know that happens, but you made that assumption.
But I've not finished now.
Sorry, go on.
Yeah. But my point is that you are the one making assumptions, because you think just because she was in gang violence, that means automatically the guy that she will choose will be the one that will now be enacting the violence. No, I'm saying he might even be the one that started it in first place, but like what you said, you are very correct that if it is you, if someone slaps you once, you give them 3. That is justifiable. Where it becomes a problem, which I suspect was probably her case, is that, okay, let's say the man has beaten you the first time, and then you either defended or fought back and everything ended. You staying in that relationship and then that happening multiple times is not always going to be the man that's not going to be the one that's starting it all the time. Because just by the fact that he was the one that started and beat you the first time, especially you that are a gang girl, any other time that maybe you feel like hyped, you'll be like, this is the new normal for our relationship, so let's fight. So that's what usually happens in a lot of domestic violence relationships. It's usually two-sided. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It's not majority of domestic violence is two-sided. It's not even that the man. It's not majority that is the man. It's actually two-sided that is more when you look at domestic violence.
Yeah, obviously, because people fight back. There's no way that
it's not just fighting back.
No,
it's
but
also fighting back and then
listen,
spiteful for the next time. So I will start it next time.
Yeah, but then that's what I'm saying. Her act of vengeance afterwards is what tells me that perhaps she was on the losing side of this battle. Trust me, these situations is not as brave as she is. There's a lot of pain behind being in that in the sort of situations, because the abuse that people are talking about, which is more just like the negative toxic connection that you have with somebody, goes beyond just the physical. There's many reasons why she went for revenge. He definitely made her feel like absolute trash. And you only stay with somebody in a relationship like that because you genuinely love them and you don't feel like your value is better than what he makes you feel. So she stayed stuck and she took out revenge. But then at the same time, let's continue watching.
His ex-partner warned me. She was a teacher. She had a non-molestation order against him. And she said, look, this guy, she told me exactly what was going to happen in the relationship. And I didn't believe her. Denzel, convinced me also not to believe her, and I really.
So she knew the guy before she tried dating him, but she chose to still go there. Meaning, it wasn't a one-sided thing. I'm sure.
Convinced me also not to believe her, and I really paid the price of that. One of the biggest things, that came out of the relationship is during the time that we were together, I felt pregnant. I ended up contracting an STI. He gave me gonorrhea at the time. At the time I was working at Microsoft, I had a very successful career with a 6-figure salary. And he told me that he was an ex-football player, semi-pro football player, only to later discover that actually he worked on the railways. He was living at his mum's house on the couch. And the car that he'd met me in, which was a brand new Range Rover, belonged to the girl that he was dating at Brown Eagle. It was someone else's vehicle. So that was only, months into the relationship I was discovering these things. I found a secret phone in his car. There was a whole array of women that he was meeting up with, and sleeping with at the same time while he was living in my house. And any single time that I confronted him, the backlash was, a verbal, physical abuse. And during the time that we was in the relationship, I called the police 19 times because I was at fear of my life. My son was living with me at the time. I'm a single mum, and my son was around 7 at the time. And that was one of the worst things, that I've ever experienced, was to see my son, witness me getting beaten up by this man. And he wasn't just a man.
Long story short, sister, I get it. You decided to set this motherfucker up because you got tired of feeling like trash. You couldn't get rid of him anyway. When you eventually did get rid of him, you probably saw that he was still living a good life, still didn't give a damn. He wasn't as hurt as you were, so you thought, I'm going to hurt you 100 times more. That's what it seems like.
Street thug. He was a guy off the street, from the ends, and because of the fact that each time I called the police for abuse, whether it was abuse.
Do you know what this story is just an indicator of?
What?
No matter how much you polish a turd will always be a turd. Because she had good upbringing, or at least she had the potential to have good upbringing. She had good education. She had a good job. But all that, despite all that, she's still a classless person.
Yeah, it's because I would just say that the problem is with sometimes girls, they want to do bad life because when they feel like they're being sheltered or they've got great things, whatever, they feel like they need some sort of like identification with trauma. Everyone, the same reason that a lot of people now have got all these, divergent disorders and this and that. Everyone wants to be special in one way or another. Her way of being special was for her to go to the streets and, beg it with man them a little bit, get herself involved in gangs. Probably she had enough money to buy people sometimes a few food here and there, So she begged her way into a community because she had a way to do that, and it just went wrong. It just went wrong. And it is, like you said, you know, the people that just their substance is created as it is. You could have gone down a million paths, but you chose that one. And your choices reflect your character. So your character is toxic. Your character is mean, vengeful, bitter. That's the thing. She's got a lot of bitterness in her heart. And the reason why I can say this is because I'm listening to what she's saying. And quite frankly, I fully relate to what she's talking and how she's describing the relationship, because I went through something very, very similar. But now comes the difference in character and substance. I never in my whole life dreamed of taking revenge out like that. My biggest revenge was in my head when I said, I wish I could cheat on you so I could make you feel the pain that I feel. In my head. I never actioned it. I was too scared to action it. I wouldn't do anything like that. At the end, to leave the relationship, I said I'd rather be alone than be in this situation. So I disappeared. That was my revenge, disappearance. Now, this one here was an elaborate revenge. And this is why I think that this is the scary part, where people are not understanding. There's different types of women that when in the same situation that she's in, they're going to make different choices. And the choice is the truth of your character and who you actually are. So I do sympathize with the fact that she went through all of this stuff, woman to woman, but then your choice in the end was not great. The same way I've never cheated in a relationship, no matter how sad or upset I am at my partner, is the same way that this lady probably would have done that. And if she didn't do it, she just accuses them of, falsely. He uses the power, the trust, the little bit that there is of the relationship to set him up. That's super villain movements.
Or, isolated me where he wasn't at home. Because there was a child at home, social services were involved. And at the last point where he was arrested, my main concern was keeping him safe. That was the ultimate thing for me. Social services were, I was at complete risk of losing him because I was in this relationship with this abusive man.
At what point did you decide everything that you're going through in this relationship, the abuse that you were enduring, when did you decide that in order for me to get him back, because that's what you mentioned in the video, that you were going to make this false allegation? Like, when did that thought process land?
So every single time the police were called, the follow-up was made. There was a non-molestation order. There was a restraining order, so he couldn't, come back to the house. But he would always turn back up at the house, crying, begging me, apologizing. He's not going to do it again, and that I need to forgive him, that I'm his baby girl, and everything was going to be okay. And being naive and vulnerable, at the time I would take him back, believe his lies, and not realizing at the time I was experiencing, what we call today is severe narcissism. But there came a point where the social services were like, we're gonna, you're now putting your child in risk by staying in this relationship. It was only in hindsight, when I look back, I take responsibility for being the codependent to enable that relationship to go on for as long as it did. I definitely take accountability, for the things that I said in that video, the hurtful things that I said. I hate men. One of the things I referred to in that video specifically was the fact that I say to the person that was recording the video that I'm going to put a stop to this so that he doesn't go and do this to other women. I felt that at that point that the only person that could stop this man was me. And the only way that I could stop him was by sending him to jail. And the reason behind that was I didn't want anyone else.
Victoria,
this is where I'm going to jump in, and I'm going to again say this is where it's a little bit in hindsight now, because of what the situation that you're going through, you will say that you did this in the name of protection of other women.
No, I know.
What I believe probably is more probable and likely to have happened is he was cheating, he was with other things. Even when you broke up with him, you knew he was still licking things. His life didn't change that much since you left, because if he was a scammer and a scumbag from the beginning, best believe he wasn't needing you as much, because he already has his lifestyle set. He already has different girls that are like you that he can go and link and get a nice hot meal, a fresh bed, some nice boom boom. He had different girls like this. He had charisma. That's why he managed to get you as well. So when then you leave him, You're now also upset and hurt that he's going to go and be with another thing. Is the replacement rather than saving other women. I think it's the replacement that hurt her. Because I don't think men understand how deep it is when a woman gets replaced by her man.
I don't even know what's going to happen further down in the video, but there's something I want to point out, and I'll be so happy if I'm proven right. Mide only asked her, so this is about the false allegation. And then she answered. But I have a feeling that somewhere around the video, she's going to also try and deny and bring back the fact that the video wasn't real.
Let's see.
But if you have answered when someone told you clearly that false accusation and you did not pull that up, because if it wasn't a false allegation, I would, if it's me, if you say something that is not true to me, I would pull you up. Before I answer it, I would say, no. It wasn't a false allegation.
I think at this point, she already admitted to it being a false allegation because she then said she got in trouble.
No, the reason why I'm saying that is because I saw a reaction, whether it was Ching Face or something, where she still referenced it, the video being not. So,
okay.
For her to be trying to still reference that after passing all these things I've listened to, it doesn't make any sense.
That probably the reason why she may justify it as not a false allegations, because she probably would say, but it did happen within the relationship. I just didn't report it then, so I orchestrated something that was exactly what would have happened before to get him done. That's probably what she's going to go down, which, is a bit of a weak argument, but fair enough.
So sorry, I'm just going to interject here.
Yeah.
So are you saying that you wanted to get him back because of the abuse? Because even though you're mentioning things that he's done, I'm still a bit hazy on what he actually did to you. Like, what was the 13th reason as to why you felt like I'm going to get him arrested? What was he actually doing to you?
He beaten me up in front of. He beating me black and blue. It wasn't just my mouth was swollen. I had blood. My eyes. It was just essentially it was a repeat of what I had been experiencing growing up. At that point, he strangled me, so I lost consciousness, and that was the final straw for me. That was it, because I said to myself, like, there's no way I can keep going.
Right.
Because at this point, when she said all these things, they should have asked for the evidence and they should have added it to the video, because you cannot just say, hey, beat me up black and blue. You don't know.
Yeah, but okay, so I'm going to tell you something right now.
It's a documentary piece kind of interview.
Again, so this is the thing, a lot of people are going to be surprised, but I'm happy that she actually dealt with the law. And the reason why I'm happy she dealt with the law, even if the punishment could have been a bit more severe or whatever, I'm happy that did happen, because she dealt with, or at least somewhat faced the consequences of her actions. However, also on the flip side, understanding what it means to be in an abusive relationship, asking for evidence of whatever happened to her 8 years on is completely wrong, because majority of that evidence is going to be gone. You're not going to keep memories after you've moved on in your life of something so ugly, unless you bump into them by accident. That's the thing. Because after a while, once you've healed, once you've gotten over it, you're not going to keep that forever. What's the point in keeping that forever? Your evidence is gone. The evidence is your memory, and the evidence is the fact that maybe your family and your friends probably saw certain things. The fact that obviously the false allegations case did come up, So I think that asking for evidence is unnecessary. Plus, not only that, this is not court. To ask her for evidence, you're taking the piss. She's already given you a conversation when she doesn't need to give you a conversation.
No.
Yes.
Do you know why I'm saying it? Because, and this is what I'm saying, because we did the same thing. We've done documentary series like this, and we took all this evidence. We might not necessarily have even put it out, but we had it, we saw it. Because you cannot give someone the chance to refute their story and come and now say whatever they want to say without evidence, whether it's police or not. That's how journalism works.
I can't lie. I'll never show evidence of everything that I've gone through, even though I may have one or two things.
No, but what I'm saying is, and this is what I'm saying, I don't know if she actually showed them the evidence.
I will never show.
No, but that's my point. If you will never show, then your story will not run. That's how real journalism works.
Yeah.
So you will just, no problem. If you can't show us the evidence, then that's how it works.
But this is not about journalism. This is about giving somebody the platform to satisfy the ears of the viewers, because they want to know what happened. So the whole thing is, my opinion is, this is not about journalism and where's the evidence is where this is now going too far. We want to know, in your eyes, in your mind, why did you do whatever? Now, this is the thing also. Let's not try and discredit somebody, because now I think we're kind of stepping on dangerous waters. And the reason why I say that is because I'm listening to her speak and I'm listening to the things that she is saying, and I can recognize truth in her story. As I told you already, my thing with her is your choices reflect your character. Your character is rotten a little bit for the fact that you wanted to set a man up. However, the story of the abuse that she's talking about is very recognizable. I know. What she's saying is not a lie. She did go through it. And I know exactly why she was a perfect person to also go through it. So as much as she's culpable, I'm not going to sit here and just say, oh yeah, where's the evidence? That probably didn't happen, because I know how easy it is for you to do what she's talking about.
No problem. Me, I don't agree with you. And I'm going to stand my ground for real reasons. It's not because what you insinuated that because I don't like her. No, for real reasons. One, I just told you my reasons. One, like I said, Trend Central did not do their due diligence. It did not ask her for evidence. You can argue with me about it however much you want, but I'm telling you, this is how journalism is done. So unless you're saying Trend Central, they are not doing journalism, that's fine. They're just doing entertainment, no problem. So if it's entertainment, fine. But like I said, if the evidence doesn't even have to be shown on screen if she doesn't want it to be. But for this interview to run through journalism, she has to show that evidence. You cannot just come and say, he beat me at this level, and then we just take it like that and publish it for the world to hear. That's not how it works. That's one. Two, when it comes to keeping records of things that has happened to you, maybe there are some people that will delete it after some years, but I also know that there are some people that will not delete it till the day they die, especially if it's what happened to them actually happened to them and they haven't yet gotten justice.
So I don't know. It actually depends. Because her justice that she was going to get was through that situation where she's going to put him in jail. That was going to be her justice. After that happened and she got in trouble, now it's time to dead the situation. You move on. This happened 8 years ago.
That's you thinking from your own brain. That's not how she would have been thinking. I promise you.
How do you know?
Because all her choices show that she's not smart. You are smart. You are a smart person. This is why I find you funny. You are actually covering for her with your own sort of mentality. No, I'm telling you,
I'm not,
in her state where she was there, she's not thinking all these things you're thinking.
Babe, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm a woman. And I know what you go through in certain situations and how your life changes, especially if you've moved on. You know, it's actually weird girls or weirdos that still keep stuff of past relationships in the new context of their life.
Exactly, and she's a weird girl.
But that again, that is your judgment.
No, she's a weird girl from her own self-admittance.
And
it's not my judgment.
Also, again, listen, please don't cut me off, yeah?
Okay.
She rebelled. She went through whatever she went through in her childhood. Again. What I disagree with is the fact that she chose to do that, okay? And is using her experience as a justification for what actually happened. It is not a justification, it's an explanation. And the explanation is, bruh, this happened. This is how my mind was at the time. This guy did this to me, and this is what I did to him. That's basically what it is.
Okay, so she's not a criminal.
She is a criminal.
So what are we saying?
But no, I'm saying that she's not weirdo.
No, she is a weirdo.
I don't think so.
What are you saying, Dinalva? Because you know there's also another story out about her that apparently, although that one is not confirmed, but I need to bring it into context so that we establish that this girl is not normal. There's a story potentially that's probably still going to blow up again, where she was working with some other guy,
Yeah, I know
so she's a weirdo. Let's not try to minimize her situation in any way. I'm not giving her any benefit of doubt. I'm sorry. It might sound bad, but I am very sorry.
Well,
I am not going to give her any... No, there are people I would give benefit of doubt, but her, no, because her case is clean and cut. There's no... This is the problem. We're trying to... I understand. I don't understand.
Listen, again, right? So actually now in fact, I'm going to tell you the truth about how I feel about this girl. I actually feel really sorry for her.
Yeah, I understand.
And I
Yeah,
feel
women-
I haven't
women always
finished.
feel
I
sorry
haven't
for each
finished.
other.
I haven't finished. I feel sorry for her for the fact that she had traumatic experiences in her life that led her down this path. Now, what she's talking about and what she had to deal with, remember, abusive relationships are not even just about the hitting. The hitting is actually the least. I'd rather you hit me than to do everything else that goes in within the relationship, especially with a man that is charismatic to the point that he could say that he was an ex-footballer. So he was leng, he had charisma, he had the gift of the gab, he had everything. She was head over heels with this guy. That I know. And if you've never bumped into a creature like that, you trust me, you're going to fall into that slippery slope. And before things need to get really bad before you even wake up and have to leave. That is a fact. And that is even from the emotional brain of a woman. So I feel sorry for her that she experienced that, but I wish she had been stronger so that she didn't try and go and do something that is revengeful, spiteful, and ruthless. That's the thing. Because actually, I'm telling you right now, when you're dealing with people like the man that she's describing, I swear, that man, if with certain women, he needs to sleep with one eye open because the bitterness and hate that you have towards the man for what he's doing to you and how he's making you feel is really large.
No problem.
So I know that you want to say she's a scumbag because you're a man, but me
That's
putting
not
myself,
why.
but no,
That's not why.
but
Don't put words in my mouth.
no, but
That's
it
not
is
why.
because the
No, how can I say it is? I'm telling you it's not why.
wait, because this is the thing. Everything that she's saying, you're denying. However,
I'm not denying anything.
No,
I haven't denied. I've put up parallels to make sure that we're not only thinking that she's
Yes.
fits into this victim mentality perfectly. No,
It's-
she doesn't at all. She's not even a perfect victim.
Listen,
That's the funny thing.
it's not about her being a victim. She went through stuff.
Okay.
We all will go through it.
Good.
I went through stuff. I'm not a victim.
No problem.
Okay?
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not
exactly.
a victim. But what I do know is that my character made me do something different. Everyone has different characters. And this is when then you get to the bottom of things. And then when pressure is applied, how do you crack? She cracked the wrong way. That's the thing. That is for sure. That is definite. But just because she went and did something horrible like this, I can't lie. I'm not going to side and just disagree with everything she's saying and completely be looking at her from a very like skeptical eye, because actually if I sat down to interrogate her and she says certain things, there's so far nothing really too much that I'm saying, okay, that doesn't sound dodgy, because I recognize the truth and I recognize the situation that she's describing. And unless you went through it, there's certain things that you wouldn't be saying that she said. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Yes, you can be a culprit. Yes, you may have got involved in it. Yes, I get it. But actually, the end result, it is sad, but what happened to her is sadder. So I feel sorry for her, actually.
Okay, good. Now, can I ask you a question? Do you think people can be inherently born bad?
No.
Good. I love that answer very well because it's actually the truth. Nobody's inherently born bad. You are whatever you end up becoming is formed by a lot of things. DNA is a little part of it. Experiences is a massive part of it. So if we're saying that means that every single criminal on earth that has done any crime from petty to large was never born bad. It was based on their experience.
Yes.
So if you can establish that, if you are going to give her this, what you're saying, then you should be able to do that for every single criminal.
Do you know what's crazy? And I do. When I watch, for example, Jeffrey Dahmer, bless his heart, he was let down and he was horribly treated when he was a child. I understand how then that turned you to be who you are. I understand. I can actually find sympathy because I can empathize with what may have created you to be this person, because you are not born this way. Do you see? So with this thing, her dad left at 12. That's a key age. Not only that, her mum got remarried, rejection of her and her family already. 2, she grew up in West Norwood. West Norwood is not a good place. Never has been historically a good place. So she was already exposed to a lot of madness and nonsense anyways. And then if her stepdad genuinely did beat her mum as well, she was already numb to the extremity of violence within the home. You see? So there's a lot of different things that add up to it that make her situation be almost inevitable.
Exactly. So what did I say? Remember what I said at the beginning? This is what things like this do. It gives you the opportunity to start sympathizing with criminals. Because at the end of the day, none of that is important. If what you did it as an adult. All that crap Because, like you said, there are people that have gone through worse experiences than I'm sure our own probably is not even as bad as some people's own, and they did not choose to go and decide to say that they will go and start doing mass murdering or.
I get that, but
so,
the same way that I can look at young Philly and I can explain certain things. I'm trying to stand up for him too in different ways. I am very much able to see the human behind the criminal, because criminals are also
but young Philly is not a criminal.
The same way. Well, we don't know yet, but
exactly.
I'm just saying,
so it's not a criminal. She is a criminal.
Yes, she is a criminal, but even though she is a criminal, doesn't actually excuse her from being a human and a person. And actually, criminals, every single criminal that you sit down and you observe, why did you become who you are? You can see that is the experiences. I don't actually judge criminals in the sense that the only criminals that I really, actually, even I feel sorry for them, the child molesters, those ones I think I could kill, simply for the fact that the victim.
No, why don't you?
Wait, I'm finished. Because your victim is actually helpless. And I find that to be absolutely disgusting. But even those people, majority of them was also abused when they were little. And so they're repeating the trauma that they experienced. You see? And they didn't realize at that time because they're too immature to understand how that's molding their mind and what is right and what is wrong. And they just grow up with that. So I can look at the humanity behind the criminal. Again, what she did is really bad. What she did is just explain to me that actually you got a bitchy, mean character. However, you are also somewhat pushed into that if this story of your abuse is true. And you went and you found your biggest revenge. And the biggest revenge is not for you to do what you did and set him up. The biggest revenge is for you to disappear from his life entirely. That would have been the right thing to do. But she went and did the wrong thing, which is fine. I get it. It's a crime. And she got reprimanded. I do think she needed to have a little stronger kind of slap on the wrist, because then you can deter other women from going down that path and making better choices if they are found in a situation like this.
My final opinion on this particular topic is, I just feel the only reason you should ever look at what caused someone to become what they are should not have anything to do with that case and that person. You can do that after the fact, later, for maybe to show example to other people. But when we are trying to judge somebody and we're looking at what the person has done, we're talking in that case, I actually feel all those things actually serve to not give them the right punishment that they should give. Because as human beings that we are, just like you, empathy will come in. By the time you hear all these things, then the real punishment you should get now starts coming down.
So this kind of goes down to, but then I get that. But then this goes down to one of the back chat episodes where we're talking about the court of law versus the court of public opinion. In the court of public opinion, we are trying to punish her now for something that she dealt with already 8 years ago. So right now, what we are doing is we're judging something that she already did. She already had to deal with at the time. We don't even know how the situation was at the time. We're trying to get revenge now and punish her now. You see? 8 years on. This is the past biting her in the ass. This is karma. That's a different punishment. Karma is coming to hit her through the court of public opinion. But let's not act like she hasn't already had to deal with the situation. And in fact, I hope that they asked a little bit more.
No, she got away with it.
How?
She got away. Dinalva, let's just be real and say the truth. She got away with it because what she did is not probation worthy. That's not what you get probation for, in my opinion. Like, you accuse someone of that, it's because of the way society, and that's the point. This is why as men, we're all like, nah, let's attack it, because we know what this does to men's reputations. We've seen it. It's the same thing, like I said, it came at the right time. It's the same thing that's happening to young Philly right now. So we know how there are many guys that have committed suicide because they were clearly falsely accused, and then obviously nobody believed them. So we know the importance of this. So I'm not playing that game of trying to see where she came from, because that is, yes, maybe in a different context, we can now start looking at those cases when it is time to rehabilitate the idea of it. But in this particular context, there is no room for that, in my opinion.
The moment of rehabilitation is this moment. This was something from 8 years ago. Not only that, actually now putting it into context, okay, the punishment, you may have felt like it was light, but then if we add the context of the relationship and when she probably maybe had to go to court to explain how the situation went and why these things happened, probably the court may have showed a leniency for understanding the fact that she came already for something else. So his crimes versus her crimes, take that away, she ends up with caution, with criminal record, probation.
Yeah, but that's not the reason why the court will have shown her leniency.
Well, we don't know. That's the thing.
No, I will tell you why the court will have shown her leniency, because it has been established. It's through research of over decades. The reason why the court will have shown her recently is the reason why the court will have shown her leniency is because women get charged less for the same crime as men. It's not about whether it is just normal. In the court of law, women don't get the same punishment as men for the same crime. It's just that's the way it is in the Western world. So
yeah, well, we're both making assumptions there anyway.
No, we're not. I'm telling you, this is research. If you check certain crimes and go and get a list of all people in jail for that crime, both men and women, and see what all the years they got, you will see that it is a fact. This is not speculation. It is not my opinion. It is known in the Western world. Women do not get charged the same amount for the same crime as men.
We won't be able to make that conclusion yet because we've not seen a man yet, or maybe try and think of some like examples of a man.
Murder is not.
No, I haven't finished. Yeah. Of a man that made a false allegation against the woman in a civil punishment.
No. No, you see, no. You are not going to do that. I said in general. I did not say about allegation. In general,
yes,
women do not get charged the same for the same crime.
Yes.
So we don't have to use that. We can use something like murder that is not sexually related.
But she didn't murder anybody.
No, listen to me. Oh my God, are you listening to me? What I'm saying is that we can use murder. We can use so many other things like selling weed. There are so many things that we can list up to like 10 different things where you see that women. So why is it hard to just extrapolate that to say that she probably won't get the same sentence?
How long was Remy Ma in prison? Decades, right? Thank you. Okay, so she's a woman that did that. The likelihood of women doing some of the crimes that men are leaders on is also quite low. So that's why it's also. Listen.
The argument is not.
Listen. I beg you've spoken. Listen. Yeah. All I'm saying is, let's do like for like. We can say in general, but this is the case. You made a false allegation. Now, I would like to know also what type of men, or if there have been men that have made this sort of false allegations and what their punishment was. Because now we are just making an assumption and deciding as the court of public opinion that the punishment should have been higher. But really what we can do is we can go out and check what does the law say about this sort of case, because we wish that she got punished higher because we are upset at what she did. But what does the law actually say? You see? Like, P. Diddy got 4 years in prison, bruv. You know, a lot of people would have wanted him to stay in prison for 10 years.
At the time, my mum was still alive, and she was very much, encouraging me to...
This is the first thing, this is not even... This is the first thing, Pause now, let's read it out. So, don't say you hate it because... No, you cannot do that. Because regardless of anything, this is what we have now. And this is like the easiest... It's just a general thing. I'm not saying... I googled it. This is the first thing, and then I will check other things. The first thing is from AI, which has the power to scour the whole internet. No, women do not receive the same sentences as men for similar crimes in the UK and US. Studies and statistics consistently show that women receive shorter sentences and are less likely to be imprisoned than men, even when considering factors like criminal history and offense severity. This disparity may stem from factors such as judicial bias, societal views that attribute less culpability to women, or different patterns. So
now search. What are the legal consequences of making a false allegation?
The legal consequences can be severe, including criminal charges.
She got?
Wait now. The legal consequences can be severe, including criminal charges and significant damage to one's reputation. Defending against false allegations requires prompt action, legal representation, and it doesn't really even say anything.
Thank you.
What do you mean by thank you?
Criminal charges, significant damage to one's reputation, which she got.
The legal consequences can be severe. It is just a general. They did not even tell us what the consequences are. They said criminal charges. Criminal charges is not limited to just probation. If you go to jail, that's a criminal charge.
Yes.
So yes. And they say severe, so let's take it to the end. That means jail is there.
Can be severe. including criminal. She got charged. That's why she's got criminal record, and why she also had to get probation. That's
Yeah,
the
but
thing.
that's exactly. So she got charged. So she got the most lenient thing she could get, because if you get charged, usually the highest form is jail time. So you see this.
They didn't say it's the highest. They said
No,
it
no,
can
no,
be
no.
severe.
I said,
You
wait, Dinalva. I said if you get charged, meaning you are going to court.
She
right?
got charged,
Good. So if you get charged, what is the highest potential that could happen?
bro.
No, wait, Dinalva, wait. Relax.
Not every.
Just wait now, Dinalva,
shouting.
wait. Yeah, then because you're cutting me off, and when I cut you off, you
No,
seem
you
to get
asked
angry.
me a question. I'm trying to
but
answer,
I've
and
not
every
finished-
time I'm
I've-
speaking,
no, I've
you're
not
cutting
finished
me
my
off.
point. My point is, what does getting charged mean?
You got charged. That means that you were found guilty.
No. Getting charged, okay, yeah. It means you're found guilty, right? Yeah, so you've gone to court and you've been found guilty. Good. So getting charged is not the punishment. Now, when you have been charged, there is usually minimum and maximum punishment. So once you are charged on any case, it doesn't matter what it is, there is the potential for you to go to jail. So if they are saying it can be severe, it means that there is the likelihood that if you are charged for what's it called? Whatever false allegations,
Yes.
you can go to jail. So that should be the maximum.
So
So
I'm
the
gonna
minimum
read,
will be probation.
Cool. So the same way that you read what you read, I'm going to read it again, and I'm going to tick the things that say. The legal consequences can be severe, including criminal charges and significant damage to one's reputation. This is including in the severe. Can be severe, not are severe. Criminal charges were brought against the person. The damage to one's reputation is being felt right now. Okay, so really the reason why I'm bringing this up is because unless this is perhaps Trend Central, I'm going to give you a nice nugget right now. Best thing you can do now to dead this whole conversation is bring a legal kind of like expert to explain to you what are how do things like this, how do cases like this actually play out in court, and then we'll be able to make a more kind of educated conclusion or have a more educated insight into what we think about her consequences.
No.
Because no, it is because this is not what.
No, Dinalva, it says including.
Bruv, let's not talk about it.
No, don't do that.
Right
Don't do
now.
that.
Bruv.
He said including criminal charges.
She's got.
No, criminal charge is not the punishment. The punishment was
Probation.
good. So
and
wait, Dinalva, wait.
Bro,
Now. I'm making
criminal
a
charge
point.
doesn't mean you go to prison.
Bro,
Do you know how many people
listen
get found
now.
guilty and not go
Can
to
I
prison?
can I say my point?
Go on.
I said criminal charges, right? So meaning exactly. So you're even making my point for me, meaning that just because you have a criminal charge doesn't mean you must go to jail, right? But you can go to jail, right? Good. So my initial argument was that women get less sentencing than men. So this is exactly what I'm saying. So meaning if it was a man, he is more likely to go to jail. But being that she's a woman, what did she get?
Okay, so
What answer now? Being that she's a woman, what did she get?
she got criminal charges,
Probation.
and she got damage to one's reputation, which is the punishment
Oh,
that
my
the
days.
internet that you chose to go to is saying it can be severe. These are the punishments that the internet is saying the person that did what she did is going to get. You assuming that a man that would make false allegations will go to prison is just you taking one general.
I never said that. I said in general.
Babe,
I
wait.
never said a man making false allegations will go to jail.
Wait.
But I said
Brother, let me finish.
Yeah, finish.
You use the general sweeping statistics and studies and this and that to say, in general, men get higher or heavier sentences than women. Fine. Cool. However, here, man or no man, they're talking about the legal consequences being severe, which include these things. This is what they're talking about being severe. That's why it includes this.
Yeah, but Dinalva.
So as far as I'm concerned, until somebody that is a legal person says these accusations can actually take you to jail, I'm not going to believe that you're saying that a man would have gone to jail for this when actually the lawyers are saying that no jail is there. No, they don't mention jail there. Do they mention jail?
just allow it.
Exactly.
Go on.
From this relationship, and
No, sorry, looking back, why did you feel like this was the best course of action for you to take?
when I look back at why I would have taken that, why I would have been so drastic and so extreme, in terms of my response, it wasn't even a response, it was a reaction. It was a reaction. Because I was...
Of which, sorry, I'm sorry to bring this up, but I need to bring it up. Let me tell you why I'm even sure that you can actually go to jail for that. Because, in the UK, people go to jail for social media tweets. And you think someone cannot go to jail for false accusation or defamation?
What he would do to me, that he would continue to do it to me, put me at harm, put my son in harm, put other women in harm. And I felt like I said, I could be the one to stop that and change that, not realizing, that we don't have the ability to change anyone. We can only change ourselves. And unfortunately, I messed up. I made a really stupid decision in making that statement. And, I had to pay the price. I really had to pay the price. Not only did somebody get away scotch-free from the offenses that they committed, but I ended up, having a criminal record because of it. Ultimately, that wasn't the end, I had to do, that was the beginning of, and I think I even mentioned it in that recording that, that's what my therapist said. I've been in therapy for almost coming up to 8 years now. And that was the beginning of my therapy. That was the beginning of realizing, my part to play, how I enabled the situation. And, ultimately, I take responsibility because ultimately, I didn't have any self-worth for myself. If I had enough self-worth for myself, I would never let a man like that in my space, in my home, or at my child. I had no value of that. And I think that's where it all begun for me.
Hey! Thank God. You see, my God always works for me. I knew. Oh yeah, let me read. Just listen. In the UK, false allegations can result in criminal charges, such as wasting police time and perverting the course of justice. Wasting police time may result in charges if a false allegation leads to unnecessary police involvement. Now, with penalties including up to 6 months imprisonment or a fine, the primary offense in this context is the false allegation itself, which a maximum penalty reflecting the seriousness of such an action, which can also be considered a criminal offense. Maximum penalty for perverting the course of justice can be life imprisonment. Life imprisonment is the maximum. Are you telling me?
Bro, life imprisonment is for maximum for anything depending on severity of the crime. And this is why I then said, within the context of an abusive relationship where the other party was also guilty of creating a certain situation, I can understand why they would have given her leniency.
Yes, leniency is not probation. Leniency is not probation.
Listen, leniency...
She got away with it. That's my point.
She didn't get away with it. If she got away with it, it would never be on her record that it is until now for the rest of her life.
She got away with it as far as I'm concerned.
She didn't get away with it. If she got away with it, there'd be nothing. She could have had higher, potentially. But we don't know the context. And this is why I said, actually, probably, if we not put things into context, listening to the whole thing, because this is the thing. I am not upset in saying, actually, do you know what? As upset as I was about hearing the whole thing, I still stand on what I say. If women are doing things that are wrong and taking advantage of their power of victimization, they should face legal consequences for the results of their bad actions. I still maintain that, and she's still dealing with it. Okay? And I'm very happy that at least in her case, the police did get involved. Something did happen and she did get some sort of legal consequence. Now, putting it into context and hearing the full story, I can say you committed a crime, but I can also say I understand the context of said crime and why it would have happened. Because actually what she could have done, she could have even killed him. She could have poisoned him. She could have done a million different things as well.
So it's good that she just...
No, I'm not saying that it's good that she should have done that. I'm not saying that it's good that she should have done that. I'm understanding the context of the situation. I'm glad that she faced legal action, but I'm also actually wanting to now bring a new conversation to the topic based on what she said. Because what she's talking about and what she went through, actually a lot of women go through. But certain women make the choice of killing their husbands or poisoning them. Some of them will make these false allegations to punish them really severely, and others just leave and escape and survive.
No problem. But now let's talk about what we know for a fact. We know, one, that she's a pathological liar. One, that we know that for a fact she's a pathological liar.
Pathological will know.
What?
Because what else did she lie about?
What do you mean what else did she lie about? Like, obviously I'm not in her life, so I don't know her life. But from this story, it paints that picture. Then she's also in another scandal again that has the same distance of her even now lying that she never even worked with the guy. So, bruh, she's a pathological liar. I don't even, that's right. What me I'm believing. So, I've not finished now.
I'm sorry.
So one, we know she's a pathological liar. Two, we know that she lied to accuse someone of rape. So all this other thing you're saying is the speculation. Me, I am actually based on what I'm saying, based on what I know. So that's
Okay, what you know is that she was with a guy that treated like shit. That's whether you want to accept it or not. If you deny,
she was a guy that treated like shit, but she's
if
not
you're
that
denying
is-
her, if you're denying her experience, then you're again being biased.
I'm not denying her
because
experience. She definitely went through what she went through.
fine. So then, if she definitely went through what she went through, that sets context for what happened. It's not like she went there, she wanted to get money off the guy, did this, and then made false allegations like what a lot of these women do. A lot of what women do, because this is what she didn't do in comparison to some of the cases that I fight against, which is you go to see a man, a rich man, a whatever, famous man, you go there with the purpose of setting him up. Okay? This one has context of a relationship that was very toxic, abusive, and hurtful. That actually does change the motive and actually intentions behind what she was doing, even though the end result is still the false allegation. We need to put things into things in context and start to differentiate.
So we cannot go
Listen, we
listen.
There,
and she we know
that's
she's a liar.
okay.
So nobody was there.
That's okay. But what you're doing now, this is what I'm telling you. As a woman, yes. And as somebody that has also dealt with the same situation that she's talking about, although with a different end result, including all the little things in the middle that she said is so typical. It's so typical of this type of men. Everything that she said, I'm like, she's not lying.
No, but she's known to be a liar.
So that's okay. You can lie once, you can lie twice, doesn't mean you're lying every single fucking time. Okay?
Someone that lie about lies once or twice.
Somebody that lied about rape, given the context of the situation, again, like I said.
That we don't know about.
Again, like I said. I don't need your ad-libs. Like I said, her character is not great. However, the context explains how the character ended up becoming in that relationship. Now, if she has done this with other men, then fine. If this is that one situation that this happened, she got the slap on the wrist, cool, no problem.
I'm sorry, I don't agree with you.
I know you don't agree because
I actually honestly believe, and this is me saying it from I actually honestly believe that you are just allowing what you are being through to supersede, and you're not using that to cover for.
No.
There are women that don't go through what you went through,
yes,
and they are lying, and they are liars.
Yes.
So that exists.
That's
so as far as you don't know what happened in a relationship,
that's okay.
Don't use your own.
But then what's the point in you listening to her talk if you're going to deny everything that she's saying?
I'm listening to her talk to actually figure out where she's lying, and I'm seeing it clear as day.
No, you are seeing it from a perspective where you have no experience in knowing what it means. So your point of reference is completely denying.
No, you cannot.
Whereas my point of reference is actually.
You don't have to only experience something to know about something. Remember, I worked in a podcast where I literally sat and listened to over 600 women speak. So I have a little skill called pattern recognition. So how good that is to some level. All I'm saying is, I'm not saying this is exactly what she is. All I'm saying is the way you are pushing on this side, and I'm not even saying I'm right. The way I push is that I'm just offering the opposite to balance it out.
Listen, I get that. I still maintain women that are doing things like this, they deserve to face legal consequences, which she did.
They deserve time.
Now, what I'm seeing, yes, for me, legal consequences. Having a criminal record is actually a really serious consequence, but people don't even care about that because they don't understand how it actually impairs your life. But another thing that I'm going to bring up now is to say, actually, the context of the situation for me allows me to have a different insight into this. To say, yes, you should have you faced the legal consequences. I'm happy because you shouldn't get away scot-free, because that shows that your character is toxic because you chose to make that decision. Other women choose to leave, like I said. However, within that context, this was bound to end one way or another. Either somebody's going to get killed, where he kills her by accident, or she poisons him. But instead, she went down the grape situation, which I think the guy kind of luckily God saved him, but that does not excuse his sins.
I actually think that women that would choose the grape situation instead of actually killing or doing like what you said, actually now even shows me that, yeah, she's a psycho, but she's not just a psycho. So I don't think she chose the grape situation because it was done. I don't think that now indicates that that's the reason why. That now means that because she chose to accuse her of rape, that means that she was the one that was actually only being,
Yeah.
you get. So I just
So-
feel her choosing rape has nothing to do with what the relationship was.
So,
I feel that is where her own badness was up to.
Yes.
If she could kill, she would kill.
It's the
As
same
simple as
thing.
that.
It's the same thing as men that kill women as a crime of passion because they discover something horrible that the woman did to them. This is parallel.
Yeah, but men that will do that have it in them because I don't want to know what a woman is going to do to me. I'm not going to now go and kill her. There are character traits for a reason.
Thank you. There are character traits for a reason. However, if a man kills a woman as a crime of passion, you will also be able to sympathize with the man and say, I can't believe my man did that, but she broke his heart. Women, be careful, because also men are so emotional that if you cheat on them, they could do this to you.
Maybe
Listen,
empathize
I
with
know
you.
you.
I would be
listen,
like, bro, you are a scumbag and you need to go
wait,
under the jail.
babe, calm down,
Yeah.
because this happens. People say, yo, you saying that men are not emotional. If a woman cheats on him, he can go and kill his wife.
Yeah, but that's wrong. That's what I'm saying. So it's wrong.
Yes,
So
it
it's
is
the same
wrong.
thing for the woman too.
It is
So
wrong,
I'm not
but it is
giving
wrong.
any
It
benefit
is
of
wrong.
doubt.
I'm not saying that it's not wrong, and I've said it a million times. However, the context that pushes somebody to commit a crime of passion is something that we also have to understand. It doesn't justify, it doesn't excuse, but it allows to explain how things got this bad.
Exactly. But it shouldn't. So this is the thing. Exactly. I love what you just said. You see, this English is such a beautiful language. So it gives context and it explains the reason why something happened. But in my opinion, it should never have a bearing on what the punishment should be. Because once you've done a crime, you should, especially if, I don't care about the context, if you commit a crime, you need to face the consequences.
You know,
now,
yes.
because the reason why I say that is because when you now say, I only feel all those contexts really work when you're using it to teach other people. But all those contexts should not help the criminal in any way positive. Even though you're saying criminal charge is still bad, but the fact that she didn't go to jail, that is a positive because she could easily have gone to jail as per what it says.
No, she couldn't have easily got to just for what that says. That's extreme, because who's going to get life imprisonment for
No,
this allegation?
going to jail is not life imprisonment. Now you can go to jail for 6 months, Dinalva. You can go to jail for 2 months.
No.
You can go to jail for 1 month.
No,
She should have gone to jail. That's what I'm saying.
Bruh.
I'm not saying she should have gone to jail for life. Life is the highest. That's what I'm saying. So leniency, where I say women get less charges, that's you see the gap of the leniency. The highest is life bringing, but she didn't even smell 24 hours in jail.
She got a criminal record. She didn't smell
But my point
24
was that
hours in
women
jail.
get lesser charges. That's my point.
And my point is, in this situation, leniency should have definitely been put in place because of the context of the situation.
Yeah, and you have gone to jail for 6 months.
If
could still be lenient.
if she had poisoned
As
him
per
and
what
killed
it
him,
says.
she would have definitely gone to prison.
No,
she
but
would not
Dinalva,
have got away with it. Now,
going to jail for 6 months
Wait.
could still be seen as leniency. That's my point.
Yes, I get that.
Good.
But what I'm
So that's my
telling you
point.
is, from what I can see, okay, and for the actual, some of the with the slap on the wrist that she got within the context, I can justify it. Maybe she should have, I don't even know if she got a big fine, which would have been nice also for her to get that.
Went through that. But I think it's very important to kind of like think about the repercussions that a rape charge has. Did you think about that? Because, for example, people that go to prison for rape are, you know, that sometimes they get killed because of the allegations. So obviously you sending someone to prison, that's number one, taking years off of their life for something that they didn't do, and there's a possibility that they could literally die in prison. Did that thought process go through your mind at all?
At that time, I'm going to be honest with you, it didn't cross my mind at all. My main thing that was on my mind is keeping myself safe and keeping my son safe and making sure that, you know, I don't fall victim to this abuser again. And like I said, it's not right. I don't condone anything I said in that video. I think it's really important to, you know, to make a very clear distinction in that the person in that video that was speaking is merely just a shell of the person I am today. And I've had to do a lot of work, and that's why my lifestyle is so important to me. You know, when I made that statement, when I said those things on camera, I was a very angry, scorned Black woman who I wanted the guy dead. You know, that's the reality of it, you know, for what he had put me through, for the pain that he put me through. And it wasn't just
Finally, she said something that I kind of like will rate. You said, I wanted the guy dead. That is finally the first intention or the first truth of your intention that you've mentioned. He put you through hell, so you wanted him dead. Cool. That's it. That's all you got to say on the whole story.
I'd experienced in that relationship. It was almost like the wrath of what I'd experienced through life. And, you know, how I'd seen men, you know, including my stepdad, you know, including men that, you know, growing up abuse women. And I feel like at that point, you know, my expression in that video was really just an expression of the wrath and the letdown and the pain. You know, I was a scorned woman. And by making that statement, you know, he didn't go to jail and he didn't get prosecuted. It backfired, and like I said, I really had to sit with the discomfort and the shame around that. And one of the biggest things, you know, I haven't gone into any of the blog posts, and you know, I refuse not to entertain, you know, the gossip or the low vibrational, low frequency conversations. But I will say, you know, quite a few people have messaged and said, what about your son? And I think it would have been really irresponsible for me, you know, as a 30-year-old woman at that time, to carry that same mindset through to who I am and the woman I am today, you know, and that would have been irresponsible of me as a mum, you know, not making any changes, not looking in the mirror, not looking at my thoughts, not doing the work to uncondition myself from those thoughts. The reality is, you know, when I fast forward to my life today, you know, I have a very, very healthy relationship with my partner. He's an incredible man. I run retreats across the world, you know, wellness and detox.
So anyways, guys, that's the reaction for today. We weren't able to finish it because it's a bit late, but it's quite a long video. But yeah, if I get to get back into it, we will. If not, probably just leave it. But anyways, catch you guys in back chat reactions. Peace.